Okay, we are good to go. So how I wanted to break it back down to basics is talk about habits, and how they can be incredible for you, or they can be the one thing that is in the way of your success. And a lot of you guys know that I read The Slight Edge this past year, and I know that a handful of you guys did too. So if you've read this, enjoy the refresh. I don't think there's anything bad with that. I know for myself, I can go back through and read a book that I thought was the best book ever and not even remember half of anything that I read. But at the end of this book, he wraps it up by going through the 7 habits that somebody needs to have accountability, to have a positive attitude, to be able to get on the road to their goals. And I think that when we're in a time of dream boards and having these audacious goals and working so hard towards something huge, especially at the beginning of a new year, that sometimes it can be scary and it can be fearful, and you can have goals that you don't know. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It's so good. You need to read it. And it's one where it's not network marketing specific. He is a businessman and does a lot with network marketing, but even if like your husbands want to read it, if they have anything they want to stay committed to or any goals, it's an incredible book. So we have these huge goals, and I think sometimes we get into that mindset of where we want to plan, right? And we want to step by step, and we don't know what to do, and how do we start, and how do you begin to work towards these goals? So what I wanted to lay out is what he talks in the book. Like I said, the 7 habits, he says, of positive, productive attitude and behavior that will support you on the path to your goals. Sounds great, right? We all need that. And I think that if you can lay out those huge goals, and of course have them in front of you every single day, and know that they're there and know what you're working towards, but have the knowledge to have the simple baby steps that you take every day, it makes it simpler, right? Because you don't just wake up and you're at your goal. It starts by the little things that you may view as insignificant, or the little things that you put off or that you don't do, or that habit that you don't break, where you don't think it's compounding and negatively affecting what you're working towards, but it is. And that's a big part of this entire book, is being able to have the slight edge, which is understanding that everything you do every single day compounds to either put you on the path of success or the path of failure. And he talks about that curve in the book, and literally 95% of the world is on a failure curve. And that may not be like detrimental failure, their life is awful, but they're not thriving. I hate that I can't use that word without it like sounding like I'm trying to sound funny. And what do you need to do different to get there? So I want to start by giving a reference, and then I'm going to hop into this. I was on YouTube the other day, and I'm somebody that I love to watch like weird videos or anything that pops up. If it's about like somebody having a special skill or somebody excelling in a different kind of business, I just love to soak up knowledge from other people. And I had a video pop up that was about a woman that's in the Cirque du Soleil thing, and she's the woman that literally hangs by her hair. So if you've seen this video, let me know. I went to Cirque du Soleil, but it was years ago, and I definitely didn't see this one, but she literally has her hair in a bun, and it has a ring through it, and that's what lifts her off the ground, and she like spins through. It's crazy. You have to watch it. But she talks in that interview because, of course, the question everybody asks her is like, you know, are you okay? Like, is it ripping your hair out? Like, is your hairline safe? Is your brain okay? Like, how can your body bear your weight through your hair? Like, it's nuts, right? To think about that. And she laughs and she says, it's like anything else that you want in life. It's like anything that you're working towards. You have to train your body, right? She had to spend years and years. I know this is a weird reference, but watch the video. It's so good. Training her hair to hold her body, and like training to make sure that like the bun and the hair was combed together and brushed together in the right way and looped the right way for where it could bear the weight. It's absolutely crazy. But she made such a good reference that it's just like anything. If you put in the effort and you condition yourself and you work with the right habits and you're at something every single day, over time, it will happen. Like, obviously she couldn't be flinging through the air doing what she was doing the first time, but over time she now does something that people look at as nearly impossible because you can't even imagine doing that. And it starts with the habits of her training and conditioning herself every day. And I thought that that was a good reference, because in the book, before he dives into this, he talks about steel cables that hold up like the Golden Gate Bridge or anything that's, you know, like those wires, and they're all wrapped together and they're like the silver ones wrapped up and they hold the huge bridges on their own. Those single wires can do nothing, right? They would snap, they would fray, it wouldn't be able to hold anything up. But because they're intertwined and they're wrapped and they're all made together, it can hold the weight of a bridge. And I feel like that's what it is with our habits and what we're doing every single day. And there may be things throughout your day that you don't think impact your business or you don't think impact your success, but they do. And that's why I want to break this down. So if you can look at these habits every day and work to have them ingrained in your brain, it will lead you to success in this business in every area of your life, whether it's your health, whether it's your happiness, anything. And he also speaks on habits and how when we speak about habits, we normally speak about bad habits, right? The things that we want to break, the things we don't want to do anymore. Maybe that is that you can't wake up early. Maybe that it's you're not taking your products consistently, or you're not working out, or there's that one thing you just, you're not doing consistently that you need to be doing. Or maybe when you're on your phone, you're scrolling, those little habits that we don't realize the detriment of them. Instead of trying to get rid of a bad habit, he says to replace them and focus on what you're replacing it with. So I think that going through this list is going to help you guys to see that. And the most important thing with habits, whether it's your IPAs, what you're doing for your health routine, your workout routine, what you're working on in your marriage, no matter what it may be, if you can have the discipline to control these habits, what happens then, right? It becomes a behavior. Just like they say, when you do something for X amount of days, it becomes second nature. So what you're working to do is to get rid of the bad habits that are in your subconscious that you're not realizing anymore that you're doing. It's just second nature, and replace them with the things that you need to be doing. So these may seem basic. They may seem like things we've talked about all the time, but I want to go through and give his references and remind you at the start of the year that if you can master your days, and you can master the discipline in your days, that's where you'll find success. If you can't do that, there's no point, right? If you cannot control this and what you're doing every day and the actions and habits that you have, you're not going to get anywhere. So that's where I want to start, so that when you're reaching for these huge goals, you know where your focus is every single day. So the number one habit that he talks about is showing up. They're going to be simply, I'm telling you. But he said when he interviewed people that were the most successful, he's done a ton of interviews, written a ton of books, he's talked to a ton of professionals and successful people. They always say that the key to their success was that they just decided to do it. And I know this might sound like a crazy statistic, but he said, if you can commit to showing up, that's half the battle, and you rise above half the population just by doing that. And it's so crazy that we always think that, we're less than, or we're not capable, or it's so difficult, or it's so hard. And I was outside doing my run the other day, and I had the Peloton outdoor thing in my ear, and she coaches you through it as you're running. And she said a crazy statistic. She said, I know this is hard. And she said, but when you complete this 30-minute run, she said, you will have done more than 80% of people do in a full 30-day span in a month. And I want you to realize that when you're a part of a community like this and you feed off of what we have and you implement these small behaviors every day, you are so far ahead. The fact that you wake up every day and you want to work on yourself, the fact that you have goals, the fact that you are building a side hustle, you are so far ahead already. You have no idea, right? But it takes showing up, number one. And then number two is showing up consistently, right? So showing up doesn't mean anything if it's just for one day or for 2 days. Like we know if you ask Lindsay if you should post, she's going to tell you, well, that was yesterday, not today. And she doesn't like it when we ask that, right? Because it doesn't matter what you did yesterday or for a week or just for a month. You have to show up consistently. And that was also the statistic that 80% of that success is showing up, but it's showing up every single day. And I know that it can be hard, but let's see. She's like, but it wasn't today. Every time we ask that. I know that it can be hard, and I know that we can have days when we've fallen off, and it's not always great to call ourselves out on our own crap, but I want you to take a survey of the last year and ask yourself how many days you actually showed up with 100% potential. And maybe it's 200 days, maybe it's 100 days, maybe it's X amount of days. But when you look at it in the scheme of a year, how much more you could have accomplished if you could just show up for that 30 minutes, that 45 minutes, that hour every single day and stay consistent with that. So that is a huge part of success, no matter what you're doing or what you're working towards. Even if it's you want to lose weight, right? You can't just go to the gym 2 times and then be like, well, damn, I'm not at my goal weight. You have to show up every single day. So habit 1 was show up. Habit 2 is show up every day. And number 3, the third habit is to have a positive outlook. And I know these might sound so silly, but it's so true. And I think especially when we're working towards goals and we have these ginormous goals that we want to hit and reach, as the days go on and as the months go on, and you're not where you think you should be, or you're not where you want to be, or you haven't covered as much ground as you thought you would, we get really negative and really gross about this, right? And he talks about in this book all the time. Hold on, I want to get to this part. He said that he interviewed and analyzed 60 different business teams, like in whether it was corporate America or a workplace or anything. And he said that he looked at the results against the teams and individuals' actual performance based on like what their outlook was on positivity. And he said it turned out the more positive the individual's outlook and the more productive and creative the team's interaction, and the greater their actual long-term business success. He said, approaching the events of everyday life with a consistently positive outlook moves you towards your goals. And he also talks about here, that doesn't mean that we don't have hard days. That doesn't mean that we don't have the gross voice in our head that talks that crap to us all day long. I have that. And I will always say, you're never going to master that fully. It's always going to be something that you have to consciously work towards, right? But like I said in the beginning, the more that you consciously work towards it every day and you're disciplined, then it goes into your subconscious and it takes over for you, right? That's where you want to get with these habits when you wake up and don't think about it, right? Like when you wake up in the morning and you have to pee, you just walk to the bathroom. You're not like, okay, let me move my legs and let me go to the toilet. Like it becomes part of your subconscious and your body does it on autopilot. And that's the point of having all these habits and staying disciplined, because that's where they go. And that's when it becomes a part of your life and it's integrated in. And it gets so simple with that. But I think that, like I was saying, when time goes on and you're not where you think you want to be, I don't think sometimes we realize how negative we're being about not just everything, but this opportunity. I think that we get stuck in that cycle of, I'm not where I want to be. This isn't working. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be. We get in this like constant thing. And what I always say is like, why would anybody want to be a part of that, right? Whether you're speaking it out or not, that is the vibe that you're putting out. And people can feel that when you're not truly passionate about what you're doing. And that's why I want to break it down to these things, so that instead of looking at that outcome and saying, I'm not there, have these list of habits that you can do every day and be excited for them and be positive about them, that you're moving in the right direction. And the more that you can quiet that voice and the more that you can be positive, even if you don't believe it yet, you know what I mean? Even if you're not feeling it, say it, right? Keep speaking it to yourself and you will start to believe that if you can start to be more positive about this. Because I feel like there's a lot of negativity, especially in an industry where like it takes time, right? It takes a long time to get to where you need to be. You have to push through it. You have to stay positive, because nothing is going to grow if it's not in a positive light. Okay, habit number 4, and we say this all the time, but it's a good reminder: be committed for the long haul. And I'm sure that you've heard this statistic too, but I feel like it's a good reminder and it's a good wake-up call that says outrageous success in any endeavor or business, you need 10,000 hours of practice to have that outrageous success. And the 10,000 hours breaks down to 40 hours a week for 5 years. 40 hours a week for 5 years to find outrageous, massive success, right? And especially for you guys who are building this as a side hustle and we're doing 1 hour a day, you have to give yourself grace, right? You're not going in for 8 to 10 hours a day every single day pushing at this, right? It's a side hustle. And that's why when you can understand the way this industry works, and you can understand that, yes, it's a side hustle in the beginning. Yes, it's something you have to build up and cultivate and grow. But if you keep going, it will turn into something that you cannot create anywhere else, because the time is passing anyways. But you have to give yourself grace that when you're learning a skill, or you're learning a business, or you're learning how to market or how to connect with people or anything, right? We're not professionals at it yet. We're still all working. Okay, so always remember that 40 hours a week for 5 years makes somebody, what did he say? Outrageous success in any endeavor. So give yourself grace, right? We're not professionals yet. We're not gurus. We don't have it all together. We don't know everything, but we're going to get there. You just have to keep going. And I think that we have to give ourselves grace, but also have that real talk with ourselves when we get into that mindset of like, well, why isn't my paycheck this? Or why was my paycheck this week? Or why haven't I hit that? And I used to have this wake up call with myself where I'm like, why do I think that I deserve that? Right? Why do I think that I should be granted that just because I want it when right now I only have the time to put in 30 minutes a day, right? Why would I get a $5,000 paycheck for that, right? You have to build the residual. It takes time. Okay. And you have to be committed for the long haul. And he says at the end of this, so ask yourself, are you willing to put that in, right? Is this something that you see as a career for you, that you're okay working 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years at? Right. And I always compare it to this because I know that you guys see certain people promote quickly or this or that happen. But for me, yes, I promoted quickly in this industry, but I've been in it for 4 years. And for 3.5 of those, I have literally been working it as a full-time job. Like in my first gig, I was working like 10 hours a day at it, outrageous, crazy stuff that I never want you guys to do, but I was putting in those hours, right? Every single day, year after year after year. And that's how it builds and that's how it excels. But when you're building it as a side hustle and you're working to have balance and you're working to time block and you're working to make sure you fit this into your life, be committed for the long haul, right? You're never going to be upset if in 4 years you're making 6 figures. You're not going to be like, damn, that took too long, right? You're going to be proud because you put in the work. So give yourself grace that we're not clocking into a full-time job. It's a hustle you are building on the side to support your future. And I think that that is a really good thing to focus on. Habit number 5. I'm getting through these. There's only 7, I promise. Habit number 5 is to cultivate a burning desire backed by faith. And I absolutely love this one because he talked about the difference between wanting and wishing for something and desiring something and how they are so very different. Because when you want something or you're wishing for something, it can be a fleeting feeling, right? It sounds great. It's awesome, but it can pass, right? You're not committed. It's not something that you wake up in the morning and you're like, holy crap, I have to get this, right? It's just something you want. It can be like, even think of it as like a craving for something, right? It passes. It's not something that is etched inside of you. And that is what a desire is. Habit number 5, cultivate a burning desire backed by faith. Cultivate a burning desire backed by faith. And he says to achieve a burning desire, you have to actually envision it happening. Okay, so a desire comes when you have belief in something. And this is why we will always say that if you don't actually think you can achieve it, if you don't actually see it happening for you, this is all in vain. You have to believe it. And when you know that maybe I don't know how I'm going to get there and maybe I don't know when it's going to happen, and wow, that's a crazy, outrageous goal, but damn, it's going to happen when it's supposed to. When you have that desire inside of you, that's when you don't stop. That's when you have passion for what you're doing. That's when you stay up an hour late or you get up early. When you are committed and you're in the zone, that is what that desire is. And he talks all about that it's the belief, right? If you don't believe in something, it doesn't matter. You have to have that desire behind it. And he says that it is a congruence between your desire and your faith, right? So you have to bring it from a wish and a want to a desire. And then you have to put your faith inside of that, which is believing it's going to happen even if you don't know how it is. And he says there is a disconnect if you desire something but don't genuinely have faith that the actions you're taking will get you there. I'm going to say that again. There is a disconnect if you desire something but don't genuinely have faith that the actions you're taking will get you there. There's a disconnect, right? That doesn't make sense, right? Then why are we doing this, right? If you didn't believe that eating healthy was going to help your health or help you to lose weight, right? We'd all be eating McDonald's. You have to believe you. And that's why he says the desire backed by faith. It has to be more than a wish or a want, more than a fleeting feeling. It has to be something etched inside of you that you know will happen, and you can't have that disconnect. So I absolutely love that. And then he also says at the end of this, which is kind of related, but not really. He says you can determine the size of a person by the size of the problem that takes them down. Right? So think about that with disbelief. If somebody doesn't believe in you, right? If somebody doesn't believe in this industry, if you feel as if you failed something, if anything is a bump in the road, what happens, right? Do you continue to do these habits? Do you continue to show up anyways? Or does it falter you and break you down? And that's when you find success. It's dependent on what you allow to affect you and how you keep moving on. And at the end, I'll run through the numbers one more time because I know you guys are missing some. So I love that one. Cultivate a burning desire backed by faith. Habit number 6 is be willing to pay the price. And he talked about this, and he said that when he says this to people, they cringe, right? Because you're like, oh, what does that mean? Like, what am I going to have to sacrifice? What am I going to have to do? Like all these different things, which I think is so crazy that we live in a society where we are so like anti uncomfortability and work and the grind, right? Like for some reason we're like, no, like we want that quick fix. We want it now. So he says that it's not that you're paying a huge price, like investing $1 million to get $1 million business. It's not that. He said it's paying the price of the tiny little things you do every day, like these habits, like waking up 30 minutes earlier when you wanted to sleep, grabbing, a piece of fruit instead of a bag of chips, choosing to put more intention in what you're doing rather than just going through the motions. It's the little things every single day. And it says the price of neglect is much worse than the price of discipline. Right. And we're so like, we push against that, right? We don't want it. We want the easy way. We want to be comfortable. We want to be living our best life. We want to be happy. That's not going to get you anywhere. Right. And it's not these huge, like I said, pay the price of $1 million in investing and I have to change my whole life and, be on this crazy regimen and everything. Like I always say, this isn't physical labor, right? We can do this. It's the small things every single day where you're saying, I'm going to choose this instead of this. I'm going to do this when I don't want to do this. And you push through those. And then he said, your dreams may be huge, but the price you pay along the way, day by day, are baby steps, right? So it's those little habits every single day, the baby steps. Can you repeat? Thank you, baby. The price of neglect. Yeah, he said the price of neglect is much worse than the price of discipline. Okay, the price of neglect is much worse than the price of discipline. And that's what he talks about in this book is that those little things, can you stop looking that? Sorry. The little things that you do every day compound, right? It's just like when I fall off of working out and I tell myself like for one day, I'm not going to work out today, right? And then it's like a freaking tornado cycle. And then I look up in 2 months and I'm like, damn, like I seriously have not worked out in 2 months. It's because you do these little things. And when you're neglecting that discipline, you don't realize how quickly they add up. So maybe it's something with an IPA, like you're not growing your network every single day, right? And you fall off of that. And then you look back and you're like, wow, I haven't talked to somebody new in a month, right? Or maybe it's not doing your live videos anymore. Or maybe it's that you don't voice message anymore. And it's those little tiny things that we think are so insignificant. And you're like, oh, it's fine. When you have that justification in your head, that's when you need to shut it up, because I do that to myself all the time. I'm the justifying queen. I have these conversations in my head all day long. I'm like, it's fine. That's really not going to affect me right now. It's good. Like I talk to myself in that manner and you can't do that. So understand that it seems like a long road to success, but not doing these habits and disciplines and not pushing towards your goals, it's a lifetime of you feeling like you failed, right? Because you're not where you want to be. So that path to success, it may seem long and it may seem hard, but it's not a lifetime, right? Where else, what is the alternative? You not pushing towards your goals or doing anything. So that was be willing to pay the price, the sacrifices you want to make every single day. And then habit number 7 is to practice integrity. And I love this one for one of 2 reasons. Number 1, we own our own businesses. And yes, we have a great community and we have trainings and we're here for you. But at the end of the day, it is up to you and yours to get your shit done, right? We can't sit there and make your thumbs go on your phone. We can't sit there and tell you, to get up and take your products and go move your body for 30 minutes so that you can be an example to your social media. We can't tell you, and sit there and force you to do it. We can lead by example, but you have to have the integrity to know that your goals are worth enough to get your shit together sometimes, right? And say, I have to be okay. Is he really washing dishes right now? I have to be okay where if there was a camera randomly put in right in my house or wherever in my car when nobody was watching me, what are they going to see? Right? Am I going to have my integrity to say that I work hard towards my goals, right? And I'm doing the things I'm saying that I'm doing daily and I'm leading by example and I'm doing this and that, or will that falter? So it's what you do when people aren't watching is what holds your integrity. And in a business like this, where, like I said, you're your own boss, it's hard because some of us like regimen. We like to be told what to do, right? We need somebody to go through the motions with us. I'm so sorry. I cannot. He like put on Meek Mill and is washing dishes and I don't know what's happening. So it's what you do when nobody is watching. And that's what these habits lead up to, is if you can master those small baby steps every single day, right? Knowing that when you're alone, when you wake up in the morning, you are holding yourself to these things and you're doing them, you will find success. You will walk down this path with us and you will get to where you need to be, because this is what leads up, right? You may not think that getting active and moving your body and taking your product seriously is a product of your success in this company. It is. Growing your mind is a product of success in this company, right? Opening up and being vulnerable and sharing these things, everything is a product of it. Your business is you. So if you don't have this together and you don't have control over what you're doing every day, those goals, you can't get there. When you can master this and be responsible for this, that's your game plan. That's your road plan to what am I going to do daily, right? How am I going to better myself? What habits am I going to create in my life? And then pair that with how you work your business. And that's how you get to your goals. Because if all you do is hop on your phone and do a list of IPAs and then you put it down and you're not living a lifestyle where you're actually still working towards your goals and you're still holding yourself accountable and you're being an example, it's not going to happen. So the integrity, what you do when no one is watching you, how it's hard when you were your own boss, and take action and accountability with the small steps you take every single day. So I'm going to read through those steps one more time just to end this off. Habit number 1 was show up. Habit number 2 is show up every day. Habit number 3 is to have a positive outlook. Habit number 4 is to be committed for the long haul. Habit number 5 is to cultivate a burning desire backed by faith. And habit number 6 is be willing to pay the price. And number 7 is to practice integrity. Okay, so if that is your roadmap for this year, right? And you work to break the bad habits that you have that are altering where you are and where your success is. And if you can implement these and consciously make an effort every day to pair these with your business, it's going to change your business, right? When you feel good, when you're excelling, when you're actually living your best life, right? When you're being an example, when you're proud at the end of the day and you're working you're going to get places, right? You can't have that disconnect, like he said, where maybe you're one person on social media and then you're not at home and you're not living what you're preaching, right? Or maybe you're not believing in it all has to connect. So when you go out and you search for that game plan, and I have these huge goals that I want to achieve, how do I get there? It's the tiny baby steps you take. It's when you wake up tomorrow and you get up 30 minutes earlier and you work out and you take your products, right? You talk to 2 more people tomorrow. You do a live video even when you don't want to. You stay consistent. It's the little tiny things every day, because there's no game plan that's foolproof. We can't give you a step-by-step of exactly how to grow your business that's going to get you to 200K. It's taking that first step, right? Simply showing up. You will evolve. You will learn along the way, and all those doors will open. You'll understand what you want to implement. You'll understand what you want to change. You will begin to get close, but stop looking for that missing piece. Like we always say, that one secret sauce that you think is going to solve everything. It's your habits. It's your daily life. It's who you are living as and what you are working towards. So those were the habits that I want you to implement, is have that big goals, the vision, the dream board over here. But these are the baby steps that you are going to commit to every day to help you get there. Okay. That's it, Lindsay.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. That was really good. Thank you. Okay. So I had an idea of what I wanted to say, and then you kind of read off those, and then my brain was like, nope, not going to say that. So the notes I took in my brain were just kind of erased. So now you guys are going to get like raw me, which is kind of what we always get. So it's okay. But I want to touch on goals and how you do call of actions to them and what that's going to look like for today. But one thing I really want to talk about first is a lot of people get into this, and a lot of people are here for a week, 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And they're like, I don't get it. Why am I not 200K? Relatable. Kai, 2 years here, been on every leaderboard, earned multiple bonuses for enrolling, and not a 200K. You cannot think that just because you are consistent for a week, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, that's going to get you to the top. When Em said it took 5 years of consistent, what is it? 5 years, 40 hours a day. Is that what you said? Right? Words are hard. Sometimes I mix things up. 40 hours a week, not a day. Sorry, there's not even 40 hours in a day. But 5 years, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's true. In this industry, I've been in it for 6 years, and it took that amount of time to earn my first multi-six-figure bonus. If I would have given up on year 4, we wouldn't be here today, me and my family. If I would have given up in February of it's so weird to say, of last year, of 2019, when I had my lowest point mentally, like I went into 2019 broken. I went into 2019 with a mindset that was something I would never wish on my worst enemy. And I ended with a bulletproof mindset. I ended with the largest bonus that I've ever earned probably in my entire network marketing career. But I ended with a new sense of me. That happened every single day. In February, I was ready to quit. I was ready to start looking for nursing jobs again. I was ready to be done because my mindset was so all over the place. And I had so many, I was pregnant also. So like if you've been pregnant, those emotions are just enough right there. But what it is it took me from February to, January, but really in February is when I hit my rock bottom. It took me hitting rock bottom and realizing that I needed to start betting on myself every single day again. In February, I maybe enrolled 4 people. For somebody who maybe enrolled 4 people in February to somebody who was on a leaderboard last month for being a top enroller in our entire company. That's how many months difference from February to December, right? When you make habits and you stick to them every single day, bad ones or good ones, that's what you're going to get from it. In February, my habits were awful. My habits were telling myself I couldn't do this. My habits were telling myself I wasn't good enough. By June, nobody else is going to do this for you but you. You can either show up or shut up, is basically what I told myself. And well, we know what I did. I showed up. So at the end of the day, when you look in the mirror and you say, this is what happened today, wow, it sucked. And then you wake up in the morning, guess what? That was yesterday. Every single day, even today, when everybody's like, new year, new me, I've always laughed at that because when I say things like about our IPAs and I'm like, you posted on your story yesterday, congratulations. That was yesterday. What are you going to do today for your business? Okay, well, 2019, December 31st was just another day. January 1st, 2020 is just another day. If you aren't going to do something with that day and you're going to use it as an excuse of why you need this day to make something of it, you're not showing up for you. You're not making habits for you and you're not making call of actions towards your goals. You're allowing a day on a calendar to dictate whether you're going to be successful or not. So yes, it's amazing. We have a new year, a fresh start. Every first of the month in our industry is a fresh start. But guess what? February 1st is going to be a fresh start also. So if today doesn't go well, does that mean you're going to waste the 31 days on this calendar of this month and say, I'll show up February 1st? Or are you going to say, okay, today I didn't do my best. January 2nd, guess what? I'm here for me because it's a whole new day. So what happened yesterday or didn't happen was yesterday. What happens today or what doesn't happen is today. All that matters is what you do with it or you don't. And at the end of every single day, the only person who can decide that is the one looking in the mirror back at you. If you cannot sit there and look in the mirror and say, I did this, I did that, I worked on me, this was this, and I'm growing from it, good or bad, you're doing yourself and your business, what is it? Disjustice. I'm bad with words. Disjustice. Is that what that means, right? Y'all know me. Y'all know what I mean. What is it?
A disservice.
A disservice. He said injustice. You said disservice. Everybody knows I don't speak well. So we're going to go with all of the above. But if you would have seen me in February versus me September, the month I gave birth to Rylan, you would not have recognized me. Besides the fact I was 9 months pregnant and swollen as all could be, you would not recognize me mentally. My growth game last year was insane, but it was because of my call to action with my goals. So how many people made goals for 2020? How many people made goals for this month? How many people made goals for this week? How many people made goals for today? When you're writing goals out, you need to have them year, monthly, weekly, daily. And then when you're also doing your goals, you need to have call to actions. It's great to say you want to be a 4K. It's great to say you want to be a 12K. It's great to say 40, 80, 200. That's amazing. But it's not going to mean anything if you're not putting action behind it. It's not going to mean anything if it's just you writing it down saying, I want to be this. If you're just saying, I want this instead of I need this, you're letting yourself know that it's a want and not a need. You're telling your mind that, okay, well, I want this. This would be nice. Me, I told myself when we were running for those re-rank bonuses, I told myself, I need this for my family. I need this because Rob we want to be a full-time family. He wants to retire. I need this to put 6 figures into our savings account. I need this for my family. And I did it. When you tell yourself that you want something and it's just an overall goal, you're not telling yourself how you're going to get there. So as you're writing out your goals, next to every single goal, I want you to write how you're going to do it. For me, my monthly goals this month, a big one for me is to lose 10 pounds, right? I want to finish losing more baby weight, and I want to get back to pre-mom bod. So I'm just using a personal goal, but business goals, all this different stuff, right? We all have them. Call to action for me, showing up every single day using our products. Call to action for me, working out, moving my body every single day. Call to action for me, eating healthy. Do you see how I'm setting myself up for my goal to get there and do it? Call to action for my business. Every single day is day one. If you've been on our team for a while, you know that I am strong believer in every 14 days is a new 14 days. It doesn't matter if you're running for an $800 bonus or not. Every 14 days is a new 14 days, because if the only thing that lights your fire is an $800 bonus, this isn't the industry for you. And I love you all to death enough to say that, and I care so much enough to be the tough love to tell you that if an $800 bonus is all that gets you up in the morning and all that excites you to work your business, and once that first 14 days is over and you no longer qualify and your business is like, oh, well, now what? Now what is you get weekly residual income. Now what is you're creating options, you're creating opportunities for yourself and your family. So if you wake up every single day and you say, today is day 1 of 14 days, you're never running out of fire. You're continuing to run, be like it's day 1 all over again. I can tell you that last February when I hit my lowest point, I did not work a single day like it was day 1. I worked it like it was day 15. Like I was already done and I hadn't earned a bonus and I had nothing else to work for. When I started working like it was day 1 every single day, or at least my first 14 days all over again, that fire, who remembers how much fire they had to earn that bonus in those first 14 days? How much excitement that gave you, how much you wanted to run for it, right? On day 15, why did you stop? Ask yourself, why did you stop? If that $800 bonus was all that kept you going, if that $800 bonus was all that this business meant to you, you weren't adding enough value to this industry. There's so much value to be added, not only to this industry, but to our company. There's so much value to be added to our team. I have had so many people tell me I'm so lucky of what I got last year. And in my head, of course, thank you so much, because I don't ever say anything, but in my head, I'm like, I didn't get anything. I earned it. I didn't get anything. I worked for it. 6 years I've been in this industry. 2 years with this company. You don't get anything. You work for it and you earn it. And that only happens by taking each day as if it's day 1 and doing call to actions for your goals. So as you're making your yearly, because that's the first, so we all have our goals, your yearly, your monthly, your weekly, and your daily goals, I want you to write next to them how you're going to do it. If your goal is to enroll a promoter, if your goal is to get a customer, your call to action, what is it? Are they doing your IPAs? Okay, what part of your IPAs? And how can you do a little bit more? How can you do one more? For me, I want to enroll every single month at least like close to double the amount of promoters I enrolled the previous month. So in January, whatever I enroll in January, I want to make sure that I almost double it in February. Then in March, I want to make sure I almost double it from February into March. Do you get what I'm saying? So my call to action for that is showing up every day doing my IPAs. My call to action is more than that. It's showing up on my stories, sharing opportunity stories, because what I did the day before does not count for today. My call to action is going to be sharing my fives and pouring from it, because if I want to genuinely help people in this business, I need them to know that they can trust me. I'm not going anywhere and that I'm actually a real human and I don't just copy and paste. A call to action for me is going to be showing them that I'm here for them every step of the way, linking arms with them once they're in. And not only that, showing it on my stories, showing it on my social media, showing it within adding value and getting to know those that are my potentials, not just kind of if they're nervous or if they say they don't have money or if their husband doesn't want to do it or whatever it is, letting them know that that's not an excuse, but I'm here to listen and let's get through it together. Those are huge call to actions, right? Write them down, because when you give yourself your own roadmap and you game plan, I cannot tell you how many times we hear, I want a game plan for the month. I want to do this. I want to do that. Tell me the secret. There is no game plan for this industry. There is no map that somebody can draw out or hand you and say, here you go. This is how you get to the top of your company. This is how you become a millionaire. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. The only thing that anybody can tell you, and anybody who's succeeded in this industry or is successful in this industry, is they showed up every single day. On the days that they didn't want to, they showed up even harder. When it comes to a game plan or a roadmap or whatever you want to call it, you get to create that. Your call to action is how you create that. So that's all I really had for tonight, because you pretty much went over everything else. But I hope that everybody has an amazing rest of your night, and I'm going to pass it back to Em.
Thank you so much. This is just our hope for you guys, that you understand that you're capable of whatever you want this month, whatever you want this year, whatever you want next week. You are so capable of it. But you have to have that level of get your shit together where you know what you have to do every single day, right? What you want to show up and do, what you have to get done. And like I spoke on in the beginning, when you do these things, they start to become autopilot, right? It starts to become a part of your day. It's not a struggle where you have to push yourself and it's tiring and my to-do list is long. It's going to be ingrained. That hustle is going to be in you. That desire is going to be in you, and it's going to push you. But you have to jump. You have to take the step. You have to start laying it out, just like she said, and map out how it's going to happen, because it's not just going to happen, right? Remember that oh shit feeling I'm sure a lot of you had 2 days ago on the last day of the month, where you were like, I really should have worked harder, right? Or I really didn't want to be scrambling like this, or I didn't really want to feel this again, right? Or why didn't I push extra on those days? Have that feeling in your soul, that desire that I don't have a choice, I got to get this done. Have that every day of the month, right? Put it in the time blocks during your day. Intentionally do what you're supposed to do and build a lifestyle around this, right? Implement this into everything you want to achieve. And I promise you will get amazing places this year. I cannot wait till we see what we can do together. And I know that it's going to be amazing, but you got to do it day by day. You have to wake up every day and you have to start with a plan. So we love you guys. I hope that you have an incredible night, and I cannot wait to take on this year with y'all. Bye.